Welcome back to the EV conversion checklist, part 3. This time we're having a look at transmissions and gearing and what your options are and what you might want to think about putting together in terms of your build. So the main way up here really, is it a question of, do you want to keep your original gearbox, or do you want to look at something a bit more bespoke and go single speed? If you're thinking about going original gearbox, to start with, have a look at the history of your vehicle, because actually there are some classic car gearboxes that are fantastic, but there's going to be plenty that aren't that strong. They're going to be a bit of a reliability weak link, especially when you're adding all that extra torque from an electric motor. You're then also going to have a clutch that you're going to have to keep an eye on and change, and typically you're going to end up only using one of those gears. Another sort of not very much thought about thing there is you're going to end up not wearing one set of gears, but wearing the gearbox in one specific position. So therefore that's again going to accelerate the wear of that gearbox, because your preferred gear is going to wear out quicker because you're not spreading it across the range of gear options. An EV doesn't need gears, so another option is to have a simple direct drive system. Now this is a great idea, but it's a little bit more difficult to implement. You have to make sure you've got the right ratio. The ratio is going to be governing the rate of acceleration. If your motor has a given torque, the ratio between the motor spinning and the wheels is going to amplify that torque to a certain level, and your acceleration is directly proportional to that. So you will be controlling the acceleration on one end, and then there'll be the vehicle theoretical top speed. The motor will also have a top RPM rating, which you can calculate as to what your top speed is going to be. And there's a balance somewhere in between. It's pretty much that simple normally when trying to figure it out. And then you've got to look at options for how you're going to achieve that gear ratio. Don't forget, when you're doing gear ratios, the wheels are included. So wheel size and tyre size is a very important part of that full calculation. Once you have decided on that ratio and figured out what's going to work best for your car, then you're going to end up with a much more compact gearbox setup with your motor, and it's also going to be lighter than the original gearbox. So the result is you'll be running the car more efficiently, and you'll end up with more space and weight to play with when it comes to positioning and mounting your batteries. The best option to choose, if you can, is to go for that direct drive single speed option. But if you are going to go down the route of keeping your original gearbox, make sure that gearbox is reconditioned, even uprated, because you don't want that to be the weak link in your nice shiny EV conversion. In terms of what we've put in the Clean Classics Land Rover conversions, we've used an LT230 transfer box, which is a transfer box from a Defender and some early discoveries. It's a more modern version of what was in the series Land Rovers. We've got a transfer box because it's four-wheel drive that actually incorporates a differential which permanently drives the front and rear axles. We've also then got the option to lock that differential when in low traction surfaces, which just gives you, it makes sure both axles are turning. It gives you more chance to grip some grip where you can find it. And it's widely considered a very robust transfer box. The LT230 also has high and low ratio built in, so we could give a second gearing option. We don't actually use low range, we actually lock the gearbox out of low range, because the amount of torque provided by the EV system, it's magnified too greatly through the low range gearing. So really you end up putting the old axle components at risk by freely having that available. There may be some more niche builds where that's a requirement, and it would be very simple for us to add it in, but our base package, we don't give the low range because it's not necessary. Thanks for watching. Come back again and watch part 4, where we're going to be talking about battery capacity, range and charging.